Our last question I'm going to read because it came in over email. It's Susie from Florida. Dinesh, we always hear that we need to be involved in politics, but as Christians, shouldn't our hope just come from Jesus? Now, I think that the underlying idea behind this question is the notion that, hey, look at Jesus. He came into the world for 33 years, but he wasn't a political figure. He didn't try to overthrow the Roman regime. He was all about personal holiness. He was all about take up your cross and follow me. He was all about the life to come. So another way to put it is that Jesus, reading the Bible, if you're looking at Jesus as a model, Jesus seemed to be all about pointing to the city of God, not the city of man, and orienting our eyes toward the city of God. Now, while that's all true, and it's all true of Jesus himself, it is also true that Jesus came to redeem man. And redeem man, not just individually. Jesus just didn't die for you and you and you. Jesus died for mankind. He died for all of us, which is to say that he died ultimately to redeem the city, our lives here and now, and to open the door to the next life, to the life to come. Now, what is the relationship between the city of God and the city of man? What is the relationship between our life now and the next life? That's really the question that Christians have had to answer. And I will say that we have to answer it in some ways differently today than Christians had to answer it for many, many hundreds of years. Why? Because for many, many hundreds of years, certainly within Europe and within America, you had essentially a Christian culture. Christians were operating inside of a Christian environment. And so it's very easy for someone to say, well, listen, I'm just really going to focus on my personal holiness. I'm just going to focus on living a better life because the culture will take care of itself. There are many other people. There are Christian parents and Christian pastors and Christian lawyers, and they are preserving the integrity of the society around me. And my job ultimately is to focus on my own personal salvation. But we today are in the peculiar predicament of being Christians in, well, I won't just say in secular culture, because I want to go further. We are Christians in a culture that is today actively hostile to Christian principles and Christian beliefs. And I don't just mean actively hostile to Christian theology. It's not, if you think about liberal culture, the liberals don't spend a lot of time denouncing the resurrection. They don't spend a lot of time denouncing the sacraments. They don't spend a lot of time denouncing heaven or hell, but they do spend a lot of time attacking Christian morality. So here, their target isn't theology, it's morality. So morality is the link between this world and the next world. Why? Because while God inhabits, you may say, the next world, God superintends directly over heaven, God does supply us with conscience and morality here and now. And as Christians, we're called, the Bible is kind of explicit about this, to be salt and light in the world. Which is to say, to use our influence to make our world better. We're not just fighting mere ignorance today. We're fighting evil. We're fighting active forces that want to undermine the propositions of Christian belief and Christian morality. Another way to put it is that we have a political debate, but under the political debate is a moral debate. And underneath the moral debate is a spiritual debate. There's spiritual warfare going on. It's perhaps invisible to us, by which I mean it is a spiritual warfare that has to be discerned or detected. Why? Because the devil isn't somebody who just shows up. We can't see him any more than we can see God in a kind of material sense. But I believe, and I think you believe, or many of you believe, that evil is no less real a force in the world as good. And so as Christians, I would say that even while following Jesus and even while anticipating the life to come, even while living sub specie eternitatis, which is to say, under the perspective or in the shadow of eternity, at the same time, we should make sure to be salt and light in the world. We should make sure to take those principles, if you will, from the city of God and apply them as best we can to the city of man.